Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Sosbans and Sidesteps podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, Mr. Huw Griffin. How are we, my friend? Merry Christmas.
Hello, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, depending on when people are listening to this. I think producer Lee has said that he's too busy spending time with his family this evening, so he's had to delay the putting of this up for a good 24 hours whilst he recovers from his spending time with his family. Is banging, raging, spending time with his family, and so we'll be coming to you perhaps in the new year. It might be 2025 when you're listening to this. If so, how did we go down against the Dragons?
That is a good one. I mean, he's only doing post-production. I mean, how much time does that really need? Come on.
Yeah, there's not much
Yeah.
editing on a right first time perfect 100% of the time, 60% of the time podcast, is there?
Hang on, I think our numbers are slightly better than that. I think we might be closer to 65 now. Yeah, I mean, it is quite thankful. We've had a big gap between the last game, which one sec. Let me just
We
I
beat
just want
Black Lion, I think was the last game.
yeah, Black Lion was the last game, wasn't it? That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've had quite a big gap, between that game and this. So we've had a nice break and a Christmas. So yay. Thank you.
Did you get any
The
Scarlets themed Christmas presents?
no, I didn't. But just because if there is ever anything Scarlet's themed and I am, I can justify spending the money on it, I will get it straight away. That
Yeah,
is a
that is the problem.
no-go.
I get in trouble for that all the time that whenever it comes near to whether it's Christmas or um, birthdays or whatever it is, it's always, I can't think of anything to buy you because everything that you want, you just buy it for yourself. And
Exactly. Now this is a thing with me and the missus. Like coming trying to think of gifts is like, oh my god, I'm just scratching my head constantly. Like I'm easy, give me a pair of boxers and some socks, and I'll be happy all year long. But women aren't quite as
Have you
easy
got
to
any
please.
posh boxes?
What are posh boxers?
Because I got when Pirate got the deal with Manscaped, obviously with Rap, because there was about 50 people at the time, everyone got just a razor. I got a proper like gift set with stuff in it. And one of the things that I got was a have I got them on now? No. Um I one of the things that I one of the things that I got in my gift set was a really, really posh pair of boxes, and it's by a long way the nicest boxes that I've got. And most of my boxes are from M&S, so that tells you how posh they are.
That tells you how posh who is in general. Jesus Christ.
Well,
So
no,
what?
I've got quite a lot of clothes from M&S, but that's because my dad works in M&S, so so he can obviously see when there's deals on, and he gets money off. So I've got the world's cheapest M&S clothes, but they're all very
Yeah,
nice, obviously.
yeah. My missus used to work in M&S. Used to get all the kids' school uniform from me. Absolutely stunning stuff. Fair play. But yeah, what constitutes a pair of posh boxers? I mean, I think the poshest pair I might own is from a brand called On That Ass. And I had them for a couple of months. I decided to chuck the socks on with it. I didn't get on with the socks. I like a proper thick cotton sock. So that went down the window. When I tried to cancel the socks, it was just such a palaver. They're probably the nicest boxes I know. So
Well,
what are these ones?
they're extremely fine cotton, triple layered in some places, I think. Um,
Some places.
in some places, yeah, just we're not sponsored by Manscaped anymore, so don't buy them. Mart did find that funny. He's just having a cough.
I'm not well, but you can't make me laugh like I'll cough. Okay, so we do need to talk about the actual last game that we were involved in. I'm not going to say played because I don't like that word right now. You didn't get to watch it live, so tell us your experience of that day, not getting to watch the game live. I think that's better than talking about the game, quite frankly.
Yeah, so I obviously we were doing lots of plans about covering the game and stuff, and I was going to do all the usual social media, etc. And first time this year, I haven't been able to watch a Scarlets game live because it being that time of year had family engagements. The girlfriend's parents came down and we had a day out socializing, interacting with other human beings, as I'm told that I should do more of. And we went out for dinner. So right, I thought I'm not going to sit at dinner checking it on my phone. I thought, well, because I've done that in the past and it's not fun. So I thought, all right, I'm going to turn my phone off, and I never turn my phone off. I never turn my phone off. So I literally messaged my mum and dad saying my phone is going to be off for 2 hours. If there's an emergency, message the girlfriend. So I did that and went out for dinner. And then, but obviously there was nothing else that I could think about. Um, so I've come home and I've said to the missus, I'm going to go upstairs in the spare room for a little bit, and because I just needed some time to check the score, react to it. So I've switched my phone back on, loaded up BBC Sport, checked the score, and I've seen that the Scarlets have lost away to the Ospreys 23 points to 22. And I've thought, oh, by 1 point, that's very tough to take. And I didn't know anything else about the game at that point. And I've gone on Flash Score to see the sequence of the scorers, and I've gone on, then clicked on the game, and I've seen that they scored in overtime to win it. And I'm like, that's a tough one to take. And then I've seen that we were 19-8 up at half time. And I'm thinking, this is getting worse now. And I was gutted. I'm not going to lie or hide the fact that I was utterly gutted. Another loss by 1 point. Our third loss this season by 1 point away from home. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't. I had a brief glance at socials. I did notice on socials that no Scarlets fans were like raging. No one was going after the team or calling for anybody to be sacked or anything like that. And obviously I saw some typical reactions about one or two, so say, decisions that happen in the game and things. But I've left it for a couple of days. I've had a look at the stats the next day, and then I've built up to watch the game back. So I think we played on the Saturday. I think on the Monday, I thought to myself, I'll just watch the first half because we won the first half. I think I'd seen the try by this point. And I've watched the first half, and I've messaged you whilst I was watching it, and I've got to half time, and that's all I watched on the Monday was the first half, and I've gone, how have we lost this? How do we go on and lose this game? We were miles better than them. It's possibly the best half of rugby that we've played all season. And then I've left it, and then the next day I've watched most of the second half. And even on 60 minutes, I was still thinking, we're going to win this, even though I knew that we lost. Like we're winning this game. We're clearly the better side, and we've not. And I'm left thinking, Mart, how what I've watched with my eyes measures up to a 3-tries-to-1 defeat. I don't understand how that's happened, and it's extremely disappointing. We can get into the bones of what we should and shouldn't have done in a moment, but I can't understand how we haven't won that game.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. There's a few games this season now where we've been in this exact same position. The Cardiff loss. I'll say the same for the Glasgow game as well. Yeah, I really don't understand how we've lost this game. We were, like you said, so much better in every single facet of play, and just took messaging you on a Monday when you were watching it, and I was like, I know, I felt all these same things. Like you were clipping up little spots of it, basically Eddie James tormenting Owen Watkins, which was absolutely hilarious to watch back. Sammy's performance. This was probably the best game we've seen from Costello for a good season and a half. So that was brilliant. Oh, I'm thinking Joe Roberts, another 2 matches down the line, catches that ball on the wing, and we're in free. But how hindsight is what it is. So I'm stuck in to think of what really to critique in this game. It was, I want to say, probably use of the bench is the only thing I could really go after in this one, but even then, we were that dominant for that large part of the game. It should have been put to bed.
Yeah, it absolutely should have been put to bed. I mean, hindsight's 2020. You can say that we should have gone to touch. If one of those kicks to goal, which was a 3, if one of those opting to take the 3 was a kick to the corner and we drive over, which our driving maul has been very effective this year. We get over and we get over quick. I think we scored a driving maul. I mean, Josh McLeod scored 5 tries in 4 games or something from that type of distance. So if one of those opts for the 3, it actually ends up with a 5. We've won the game, and there you go. So that's one thing. Like you said, the use of the bench, as always. Archie not coming on until the very end was Dwayne's got that wrong. Just call a spade a spade. That was a mistake. And then, you know, the the to concede the 3 tries in the manner that we did. I always say that the score, the try count doesn't lie. 3-1. To concede those 3 tries in the way that we did is disappointing. You know, let's be honest. Ospreys aren't scoring if you make them go more than 3 phases. They haven't done all season. Their phase attack isn't how they score. They score quick. And to give them the opportunities to get into the position to have an attack from that close to our line, have a platform that close to our line is disappointing, and to allow them to execute it 3 times is disappointing. We should have been able to stop it. You know, and if we want to be a team that is in the top half of the table in the URC, that's the level of opposition that we need to be able to beat.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, we're not here to critique the opposition, but like even the commentators. And to be fair, you know, some people moan about the commentators. I think I like Richie Reese as a commentator. The way he calls plays in you know, in real time, he was saying, well, the Ospreys have done this, which means they're going to have this problem at the next ruck, and then they would. You know, there's a video that I've done on the Rap channel analyzing the Ospreys attack, and it was the things that I put in there about having all your forwards being used in one way, which means that on the next phase of the attack, no one's in the right position to execute the next thing. And Sean Holly, we obviously know, is steeped in Ospreydom. He was losing his mind on comms, going, what are they doing? There was one where they called a mark. I think their first attack of the game, a maul on the halfway. They've thrown the whole back line into the maul on halfway and got nothing from it. Like, let's be honest, you know, if the Scarlets were pulling moves like that, we'd go absolutely mental. We on this pod, we'd call it out and say it's not good enough. So the point that I'm making is, if we want to be that team, which we're trying to convince ourselves that we are, we've got to be beating that level of opposition. And the fact that we didn't, you know, watching the game back kind of made me feel better, in that I was like, well, we were clearly the better team. But it doesn't matter if you don't trouble the scoreboard. And we tried to keep the scoreboard ticking over. And like we say, Huw Lloyd's missed a couple of kicks. People are overstating how easy the kicks were. One of them wasn't easy at all. But another game lost by a point that we should have won. And it's a trend now. And, you know, you're looking at the league table. We're somehow now down in 12th. Obviously, people have played different numbers of games. With 3 wins, if our discipline was 10% better and our kicks to touch were 10% better, we'd be on 6 wins. And that's not an exaggeration. We've lost 3 games by 1 point. So it's frustrating, and I'm annoyed, but at the same time, I'm not panicking, because we did play the better rugby.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree with you on a lot of points. And one thing that I was worried about before the game, which I'm very much worried about for this upcoming one, is that us getting dragged down to their level. I think they did do that in, you know, especially in the last 20 of the second half. I mean, if you watched us every single game up to this one, how many times have we taken the 3, especially in the first half? We would always go for the corner and go for the kill. And yes, I understand, you know, keeping that scoreboard ticking over. I do agree with you. I do think if, you know, we stuck with our guns as we have been all season, we probably would have had a bonus point wrapped up by half time if we kept going for the corner instead of the sticks. You know, that is the level of superiority we were enjoying over them. But I do understand why we went for the 3 at the same time. I mean, there is no team in this league that I fear at home. There generally isn't. Any team can turn up the park, and I honestly believe that we can't do them over. And there's literally a handful of teams I'm afraid of going away to. I'm not afraid of going to Glasgow anymore. I would have been afraid of Glasgow before that game, and I know people say, "Oh, it's a rotated side, blah blah." So were we, and you know, you play what's in front of you. Like, honestly, unless we're coming up against, you know, fully loaded Leinster, Bulls, Glasgow away, I'm genuinely not scared of anyone, and that's just the reality of how good we are playing this season and how much improvement a few of our signings have made, and secondly the buy-in from the players into the style of play, because this is massively different from what we see in last season. They went to the back to the drawing board essentially. At the back end of last season, they've come up with this. They've presented it to the boys in preseason, and they have all bought in, which has been absolutely amazing. And it's amazing for us to see, the style play. Even other teams like Bordeaux and Toulouse are copying us. You know what I mean? That's how good it is. But yeah, it's getting over that line, and obviously that is the main thing. Wins are what matter. I'm happy to be having some great performances, but when we're literally losing to what essentially is one of the worst teams in the league, and I'm not saying this just to be disrespectful to those over the bridge, you know you are literally bottom four of this league. That is pathetic, and I include us last season in that bracket. We were pathetic last season, so to even be within a score of these teams is we shouldn't be looking at ourselves. Yeah, onwards and upwards.
Yeah, let's just have a quick glance at the stats, because I think the stats aren't massively exciting for this game, but like if we start with the set piece, obviously that went well, as it has done all season. I just need to make sure I don't share the wrong thing.
Share the screen.
There we go.
Hang
So
on. What are you going to share that's wrong? What are you afraid of, my friend?
no, nothing. It would just be the WhatsApps and things. I only ever talk to you really anyway, so you've seen it all anyway.
Oh, I'm privileged now.
So set plays and
7 scrums. Wow.
yeah, I'm a bit perplexed by this. As well as the Ospreys stat says they had 67, well, 2/3 scrum completion on 4 scrums.
Yeah, they had 6.
No, that's the total scrums, I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure that come on, to get 67% from that, surely it has to be they've had 6 scrums.
All right, okay. Well, the point is I think we took 2 scrums off them. So that math does actually math. We took 2 scrums off them. We took 2 lineouts off them as well. I think Matthias got 1 penalty out of both or 2. And I think Hepburn got 1 out of, I can't remember who was the replacement side for them, Reece Henry or something. Another game where we've not dominated possession. We know that's not our game style. We're happy to, I think they called it out on comms. They went, watch this now. Scarlets will go 2 phases and kick. And that's what we did. And that's fine. That's a way of playing. But when we had the ball, we did a lot with it. If you look at our per touches metric compared to them, we had a lot more. Yeah, 209 tackles again, north of 200 tackles again. Yeah, so there's nothing in the stats that makes me go, apart from, this one, the possession map. We let them have so much possession in our half. And this is something that we've got to improve.
Yeah, but like you've said, Ospreys are not doing anything after 3 phases. So, red zone, obviously different, but we do seem very comfortable letting teams play around us. So, that is something we need to look at. I do think we could probably do more with possession. We have got some amazing strike runners. I'm pretty sure that, 3-4 phases we can develop, get our full back line, get a move ready, and try something rather than just give possession away.
We left 2 tries out there as well. I mean, like you said, the Joe Roberts one, he should have caught it, and the Huw and Lloyd one that was chalked off 10 minutes in or whatever. Well, I didn't see a forward pass. I'm not sure.
No one did.
Not sure what the TMO's seeing there to suggest that Eddie James has passed the ball forward. He clearly has not. But anyway, less of that. Let's not do referee talk. Let's talk about the try that we did score. So this has gotten all of the Twitter rugby analysts excited. This Scarlets try, lovely set play move from the line out just inside their half. So it starts off with a pass from Josh McLeod, and they were going
Amazing pass, by the way.
they were going mad about this pass. So the Ospreys have got two defenders on the tail of the line out here. I think that's Sam Parry and Gareth Thomas.
Yeah.
Josh McLeod fizzes this, but look at this pass, man, to Costello there. It was a bit
Oh,
high, but Costello's short. We'll blame that on Costello being short. And you got Lousy in midfield. Now the commentators were saying Lousy's in midfield. That means must mean because they're going to use him, and we have used Lousy as a crash ball 12 at times this season. That is a tactic that we've used. I love that we've done this in overtime as well, by the way. We could have caught it and kicked it out. So this is kind of what we were saying about backing ourselves. Like we backed ourselves here, but not at other points of the game. This is just annoying. So if I run it on, Costello then fizzes it back. Look at where Cowdor is. He's sat there waiting for it.
as
Come
he
on.
does.
Don't let me
It's his
down.
favorite thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, just hang about somewhere. Cowdor. There you go. There he is. So he sat there waiting for it. He's through, and then look, he's got Ellis Me on his inside, and look at the pace on that. He doesn't even hit top gear there. So that was nice to see. I think everyone else in Wales is starting to wake up to Ellis Me, who is Welsh, by the way. We've checked.
Yeah. Like we said before, he's apparently Cunnan Valley is where his roots lie. So it is good, and I know you said this to me as well, that you think some Welsh selectors might get a little bit trigger happy and see, oh, he's playing well, let's get him in.
It's because he's so tall. Honestly, his height is such a point of difference for him. And there's just the fact is there's no other wings in Wales that tall, and being tall helps. So
Yeah, I mean, it does, but as a winger, probably not as much as, let's say, a second row. But, I mean, but yeah, I don't want him involved with Wales. I really don't.
well, he had 84 meters, which was top. He had 5 defenders beaten, which was top. He had 2 offloads as well, which no one else was more. Not a very offloading game. From his 9 carries as well, 84 meters from 9 carries, pretty darn good. And then the other player who had a great game, who you already mentioned, is Sam Costello. Now, I'm not going to read out Sam Costello's stats because they're definitely wrong. He definitely made more than 15 meters in this game. But like you said, at times majestic performance from Sam, not befitting of someone on the losing team.
No, not at all. But there we go. It is what it is. I'll be honest, the way things are going within Welsh rugby, we might not even have a local derby, at Christmas time, before long. So, that is what it is. Let's enjoy it while we can, shall we say. Okay, we did have a team also play this past weekend, which is our female team in
Past 2 weekends.
Past 2 weekends. Yes, I'm talking about the park now. But no, yeah. Obviously, yeah, we weren't here for last week, were we? We were off celebrating, Hanukkah or whatever it is you celebrate. Yeah, so Brython Thunder have kicked off their Celtic Challenge campaign. Oh, that works out nice. CCC. Not the greatest of starts. Both games against Gwalia Lightning. Gwalia, who, let's be honest, when you're looking at the squads of these two teams, they should be winning these games. And they did. They were comfortable down at Stradmanach, which, by the way, terrible choice moving them from Cap. Why they've moved them from Cap, I've no idea. Much better being in an actual rugby ground, not a schools team ground where the cameras. I didn't enjoy watching that game just for
Yeah, but the
for the
biggest
camera
difference for
accent.
me, I mean, obviously, it has a functional pitch, and I'm sure the changing rooms and everything are all very nice. It's not
Oh
the
yeah,
issue.
it's a Dragons training pitch. It's awesome standard.
Yeah, it's that from a viewership point of view, the level difference between Parky Scarlets and Ushard Monarch was night and day from watching it on TV. And if they were still playing in cap, that disparity wouldn't exist. So that's the point on that.
Yeah, yeah. We'll ignore that first game. 42-22, I think.
Bonus point away from home, job done.
Yes, yes, it is. That is what it is. But this game this past weekend at the park, which was free to enter, free for everyone. Sorry we couldn't promote it anymore, but if you had any daughters, you could have taken them for free. You could have taken yourself for free. You don't need any daughters. Take your son, take your boys to watch some good standard rugby from the women's division. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go with this one. I mean, quite frankly, the game should have been dead and buried by half time. Again, we're saying this, held up over 37 times over the line. It, it was hard going, watching this game. Obviously, we watch the Scarlets, we watch URC, top 14, Champions Cup, Challenge Cup level rugby. So we're used to seeing a certain standard. And obviously, the women's game is just not at that level yet. It will get there in time. I think the Power 15 or whatever it is called across the
Yeah, did
border.
you watch the Harlequins versus? So have you seen anything of the Harlequins versus Leicester?
No,
There
I
was some
haven't seen.
there were some skills in
I'm
that game. There's a few Welsh girls played extremely well in that game.
yeah.
None less so than Al Cal.
What? You
What?
serious?
What? What do you mean?
She was playing.
Yeah,
She's a Brit. What's she doing over there?
they're paying her money, Mart.
Oh, for Christ's sake! I'm upset. I'm really upset now. Really, really upset. I thought she was out for the
Yeah,
season or
Alex
something.
Callender
Oh,
and um, Jazz Joyce,
oh, I
Scarlets
know
through and
Joyce
through.
is. I know Joyce is over there. You can't expect Joyce to not have a paying contract. Best back in the world by far. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I don't get a chance to watch the way. So isn't it all on what's it called?
TNT.
Oh, I was going to say BT. Shows off. Yeah, I don't have that crap. Didn't have that crap when it was Champions Cup on it. I'd rather find a free stream somewhere. So cheap I am. But yeah, Brython really dominated up front. The first half especially. They had all the possession. They were
All
held
the
up
territory.
held up
Four?
so many times.
Four hold ups? Now we at Scarlets, Brython men, as I've started calling this, the Scarlets as a
Brython
joke.
men.
um, and so I will say that we kind of tongue in cheek started referring to Brython Thunder as Scarlets women. Well, the Scarlets have started announcing the Brython team sheet via their social accounts. They've obviously play in the park. They're putting out videos of Dwayne Peel going and meeting the girls, and they got the girls doing interviews about how when they had season tickets at the Scarlets. So kind of the thing that started as a joke is now official in all but name that
Yeah.
Brython Thunder are Scarlet's women. Um, uh, I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so we talked about Scarlet's men about how we've held up a lot of teams and it's good defense, right? That you know that wasn't really the case for Brython. They should be disappointed not to score those. There was some poor carrying technique that cost us tries there. Also, a bit of white line fever from the forwards because I thought when the backs got the ball, particularly the centres, looked very sharp. Looked very sharp. And oh, I've forgotten her name now. Is it Hing on the wing?
Eleanor
Eleanor
Hing,
Hing.
yeah.
Yeah, she was class. Obviously, Meg Webb was class as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah, outstanding. Fair play to her.
so we should have come on. If you're going to be the Scarlets women, you need to pass the backs the ball a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't see as much of the backs in the first half with all that forward domination, but the second half, especially when the backs came on, Fionn Lewis, Hannah Marshall, Hannah Black. Oh my God, these girls were outstanding. They literally they tore apart Gwalia when they were able to do it. It was just a shame they couldn't finish off moves. I mean, Fionn Lewis, I think said she's been injured for the last 17 months. I know this was her first game, so obviously her first game for Brython as well.
No,
So,
she played. She played for Bristol week before, I think.
yeah, first game for Brython, let's say. First game for Brython then.
Yeah.
And she was outstanding when she came on. I mean, oh my God, watching this girl play, it was something different. And someone who was he? Yeah, it must have been Hannah Marshall. She looked outstanding. In the forwards. She didn't start last week. Our first choice hooker. I think she's our first choice. It's hard to really tell right now. Chloe Grant, she got stretched off. So speedy recoveries to her. But Evie Gale, who came on in that first game and started this one, oh, outstanding. I mean, there are certain players you just look at and you think, yeah, Natalia John is another one. They just do their job so well and it's so impressive. So it is a really good core of girls in this squad, women, or whatever, however you want to say it.
I've checked with the women's pod. You're allowed to call them the girls if they're your team. So like we call the Scarlets the boys. The boys done well. We're allowed to say the girls. Like you wouldn't call the Black Ferns the New Zealand girls. You wouldn't say that. But for your own team, you're allowed to call them the girls. I've
Okay,
checked.
fair
I
enough.
checked with women and they said that was fine.
I can deal with that. I mean, one thing I had issue with, now I didn't see much of this, watching the women's under 20s, the Summer Nation series or whatever they were called, is Jess Rogers on number 8. She was carrying a lot upright, which I think obviously contributed to some of those hold up tries. So it just made me think that there might be a niggle or something going on in there. So that was quite uncharacteristic. But honestly, there's a really good squad here, and even though it's supposedly slightly lesser than what Gwalia is, I don't see no reason why we can't give this, Celtic Challenge a good run. There's 8 more fixtures to be had. It's a long
Yeah,
old.
some good teams. I think we will build. I mean, the step from game 1 to game 2 was massive.
Well, yeah, I think we haven't had a pre-season
Yeah.
either. I mean, all the girls rugby would have come in different teams. Our game against Gwalia, and it goes for both sides, obviously. But that was the first game of rugby they had together, which is maddening in itself. So that's something we can build on next season. But yeah, a ten game league, 6 wins. When the level
It's a
of
tough
playing
old
field,
league though, Mark. It's a
it
tough old
is.
league.
I want to keep us in there. You know what I mean?
I know.
I'll be honest.
I'll be obviously be backing them no matter what. Edinburgh look a good team.
Oh yeah, they
Obviously,
do.
Wolfhounds are good. So you're probably looking at Clovers and Glasgow now. We will get better, I think, exponentially as the season goes on. You're probably looking at Glasgow is probably the one that we'd be disappointed if we don't win that. Um, Edinburgh are very good. I think we've got Edinburgh next.
Yeah,
They're
in
very good.
Edinburgh, on the 4th in Edinburgh. That is going to be one hell of a clash to behold. But no, I mean, it is a really level playing field. There's not a great deal between the teams. Wolfhounds won it last year. Edinburgh were in second. Obviously it was only Glasgow that finished without a win, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen again. But I do think I wouldn't be surprised at least to see someone win this league with 7 wins. I would not be surprised by that at all. I could see everyone taking at least 3 L's.
Yeah. So anyway, looking forward to the next round of the Celtic Challenge.
Woo-hoo. Okay, kind of meant to be the community bit, but it's been Christmas. I've also not been 100%, so I kind of haven't done the fixtures for this upcoming round. Everything does kick off on Saturday the 4th. I am very apologetic, guys. I will give myself a smack on the back or whatever. Get it all back up and sorted. But what we can talk about is the SRC double headers. Now, we had Llandovery at home to Quins in the first round, and then obviously Quins hosting the reverse. It was 35-5 Drovers win in that first game, up at Churchbank. So it was pretty much a demolition job. There was really nothing to be said for Quins in that game. Ed Scragg picked up a try in that one, so well done to him. But the return game in Carmarthen Park, now that was quite different. That could have gone either way, and I am really happy to say that it could have gone either way, mainly because of how many Scarlets got pumped into this Carmarthen Quinn side. So Llandovery in the year 23, they had Jack Davis starting. They had Harry Thomas, Wahey, first game back. Great to see him again. Gabe Hawley and Ed Scragg, those 3 on the bench. So 4 in total. Now, Carmarthen Quins in the starting 15 had Yori Badham, Gabriel McDonald, Charlie Titcomb, Sam O'Connor, Isaac Young, Ben Williams, and Carwyn Tuapolotu, with Keanu Evans and Rodri Lewis on the bench. So, in terms of development, 7 starting, 2 on the bench. I am incredibly happy with that from a Scarlets point of view. Obviously, a couple of them, Sam O'Connor and Charlie Titcombe, we won't see them week in, week out. This was literally because of how the games fell, and we weren't playing, in and around this time. So because they are usually the third option 10, third option loose head, so they will be traveling reserve, and they will be again come New Year's Day. So they don't get that opportunity to play much rugby, which is a shame because they're both young and extremely talented. I really like the look of Sam O'Connor. I really want to see him play more minutes. But onto the game itself, it was a ding dong of a match, back and forth. Quins will be, really, really happy with the performance. They stood up to the champions. They stood up to a top 4 team, and they came within a score. 27-22 were finished to the Drovers. So they'll know that they could have got the job done. Gabriel McDonald picked up a try. Charlie Titcombe got 7 points, 2 conversions, and a penalty. There were opportunities in this game for them, and I think coming off of last season where I think they only picked up 6 wins in the league, in a 13-team league or whatever it was, they'll be happy with the way they are progressing so far, which is great. Drovers, on the other hand, they grinded up wins. They're not getting out to second, third gear very much. Apart from that Newport game, I don't think they have got out to third gear with anybody. And, that is amazing to say, considering they still are in that top 4 mix. So I'd like to see Drovers, use this little break. So they go this weekend coming now, and then they got a little bit of time off before the cup competition starts. I'd like to see them really, have a look, see where their issues are, how they can get running at a higher gear. Because quite frankly, if this is what Drovers are doing, they're really battling teams down and they're getting over the line in second, third gear. They're going to be something else once they hit top form. I know maybe there is a plan. Maybe this is the progression. Maybe they're going to start using this cup run and then the last few rounds of the league before the playoffs. Maybe that is the plan. But I'd like to see a bit more from Drovers. Quins, on the other hand, I'm really happy with them and how they're going. A few more W's would be nice, but there it is. So on to this week now, and Llandovery have gone Newport at home. So that is a big one, and we know they've performed against Newport once, so I'm expecting it again. And the other game, Carmarthen Quins are travelling to Pontypool, which is a 5:15 kickoff on the Saturday, and I believe will be live on S4C. So
Great.
that'll be nice to watch. A bit of Saturday rugby, first weekend of the year. Hopefully there'll be a decent crowd down there. Pontypool and Ebbw Vale. They've had their double headers these last 2 weeks. I think they've pulled around 7,000-8,000 over the two. Obviously the same people, so we're talking about 3,000 to 3,500 people over the 2 fixtures, which is absolutely brilliant.
You mean 103,000, as is the law on Welsh Rugby Twitter.
Oh yeah, especially over the Christmas period. Yeah. I mean, RGC for their game against Bridgend got over 2,000 up in Stadium CSM, which was, that's outstanding in itself. They don't have any other competition besides football. If they could somehow get a hold of that, and even if it was only half of that, even if they get 1,000 coming regularly, that would be massive for RGC. So those things are absolutely brilliant to see. I love it. So
I think Neath got 5,000, was it? The story for Neath?
Yeah, it's Bonham Mine. It's a little bit different, that one, for me, because there wasn't the Scarlets Ospreys game on the same day. I mean, brilliant to get together and all, almost at capacity. I think it's only 6,000 now.
Yeah, it's not a big ground.
Compared to what it was back in the day where they had all the terraces, and I think they could have got close to 20 and they had 1 point. But yeah, when you don't have the competing regional fixture on the same day, it is hard to take.
Yeah, I mean, I know obviously there's it's not that easy, but you'd like to think that you could be a bit more creative with some of these SRC fixtures and when they're
Yeah,
played, where they're played, and things.
yeah. I mean, people go on about club rugby being the lifeblood of it. Well, let's try and take hold of that. Let's try and move them away from the community game. Then, if these clubs are really who everyone is supporting and who everyone loves, then let's have them play when all these people who love them are not playing or coaching or anything themselves. Let's see what happens. This quarter-past-5 fixture for Pontypool against Carmarthen Quins. Most fixtures are going to be finished about 4, 4:10, on the Saturday. So that's probably a little bit too soon. You know, if you could get a good 2.5 to 3 hours, I think three might be a little bit too much actually between these games. And if people do love their clubs as much, then I think it's like back in the day when I was just a kid playing. If I had my youth game in the morning, so if I could go watch the seniors, you know, I was bouncing, I was banging anytime we played at home, and the odd few occasions we played on Sardis, was it was absolutely brilliant because you literally get off the pitch 12 o'clock, shower, shit, whatever you needed to do, and boom, you were already there. You're already there waiting and bouncing. It's nothing like it again to play a game and then watch a game straight after. I do like that feeling. So yeah, that is something we should be looking at. I'd say the same for the regional game. If we could get everyone who actually plays or supports or likes rugby not clashing in any capacity. Obviously, there's no evidence to suggest these people will go to these games, but if you don't try it, you'll never get that evidence as such, if you should say. So yeah, that's my 2 pence on that subject. So that brings us to, I want to say this weekend, but obviously it's not this weekend. That brings us to this Wednesday, and
Yeah, it's confusing. We got caught out with the team announcement today, didn't we? Like, oh my
yeah,
God, there's a Scarlets team been announced. What's happening? It's Monday. Oh, that's because we're playing on Wednesday.
like even then I expected the team tomorrow. I was like, I didn't even have it in my diary even close
Yeah.
to today. Like, but no, this is the one and only time in the year we will ever record a pod and actually know the squad going into the game. So I think
But
I think
before
that's
that,
right.
we've had a letter.
Oh my god, no! Why can't this guy just go away?
It's from Jack
Oh,
from Lucker.
I mean, it
He
looks like you
says
broke the
this.
letter from how much you did. No, no, never mind.
Well, 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 well. Your precious Scarlets have lost a game of rugby by 2 driving mauls to 0. Is it time that, oh, sorry, is it true that you only opted for the 3 so many times because you didn't want a forward touching the ball? Yours, Jack from Lucker. Charming as ever, Mark.
Charming as ever, Jack. It's Christmas, so I'm just gonna say go do one. You know. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to revisit that game, Jack. Bugger off, please. I mean, if you've got so much to talk about, so much to say, send it to the Erie. We really don't care. You know, we care about us. We don't care about you. You care about us. This is the thing. We focus on Scarlets things and how Scarlets do.
I tell you what, our notifications on Twitter have been busy. Last week we've had a lovely quiet season up until now, and our notifications suddenly started popping off over, from Saturday through to Sunday.
Yeah, I did notice that. To be fair, that was quite annoying. So yeah, we like to focus on ourselves as always. So let's focus on ourselves. Dragons on Wednesday, New Year's
Shall I
Day.
bring the team up? Shall I put the team on the screen?
Put the team on the screen. I like the idea of that. That
Yeah,
sounds
it's a
nice.
shame that
Cool.
that can't be a regular bit because we
Team on the
normally
screen.
record miles away from when the team's
Oh,
announced.
you've got a beautiful photo of you waiting to post your comment. Oh, so sweet.
So we got number 1, Alec Hepburn. Manus van der Merwe is in at number 2. Henry Thomas retains his usual spot as starting tight head, best tight head in Wales at number 3. Triple H, as we call him. Alex Craig is in at number 4. Sam Lousy, number 5. Max Douglas, Maximus himself, is in at number 6. Oh, sorry, I forgot to call Marnus the Nethley Warthog. We must do that. So we've gone for one of our preferred tactics of 3 locks in the starting 15 and the starting pack, which we did against the Bulls, and I think we did it against Black Lion as well.
No, we didn't do it against Black Lion.
You sure?
Yes, Bulls and Zebra.
Oh, okay. Captain Josh is at number 7. Then we've got Tane Plumtree is at number 8, which I think is his best position at the moment. Then you got Gareth Davis Cowdoy is at number 9. Sammy's at 10. Then you've got Blair Murray is back from injury at 11. Johnny partners Joe Roberts in the centres. Ellis Mee keeps a spot on the wing, and Tom Rogers is at fullback. Let's pause there then. So I feel like fullback is the problem position for the Scarlets in the moment. Not because we don't have players who can play fullback, because as we discussed in the past, all of our wingers can play fullback, literally all of them. But no one's nailing it down. We had Huw Lloyd starting there last week. We've had Blair Murray play there internationally. Johan Nicholas has been playing there. He's now out of the team, out of the 23 entirely. I feel like Dwayne just needs to pick someone and stick with them. I know it's difficult with injuries, but
Yeah, I
we're going to
mean,
struggle.
for me, I wanted Tom to be given the 15 shirt. Obviously, he had it for the first game of the season out in Benetton, and this is now the first time he's getting again. It has bounced between Johan Lloyd and Johan Nicholas, and seeing how good Ellis Mee has been is like Johan Nicholas is he's a Scarlet through and through. He's Ponte bearing boy. He's absolutely brilliant to have in this squad. But quite frankly, I think if Ellis Mee had shown a little bit more in one of those first two games, we would have seen Tom Rogers at 15 for a lot more this season. But yeah, Tom is the one we need to run there. I think he, out of the three that are there, so you got Blair Murray, Ellis Mee, Tom Rogers, who all three can play fullback. I think it might end up being Ellis Mee, in the long run, just because of these new escort laws. Having that extra bit of height behind him, to take on these high balls when you've got someone actually steaming at you, might be beneficial. But yeah, Tom is definitely the one for me. He doesn't have the top end pace that Ellis Mee or Blair Murray do. So, there is that sensible, choice for there. Put your slowest wing at fullback sort of thing. And he's not slow anyway. He's just not as fast as the other guys. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm not calling Tom Rogers slow. Nowhere near to it. But I like Tom at 15. I think it gives him more options. I think he is a good kicking option, but having it's that ability to scan, which is something that is obviously massive in Sanjay's game, which is obviously spent a lot of time here, being from us. I'm hoping that that's something that Tom has learned during, his few years involved with Sanjay. So, given how good Tom has been in attack this season, I am excited to see him getting a run in the shirt. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm done with the Sam Costello, Johan Lloyd 10-15. I am done with it. We've spoken about Johan Lloyd's best position being 15. I mean, the way he's played this season, I think he's focusing a lot more on playing a 10, and it is showing. I do think he is developing into a better 10 than 15, so let's keep him there. So, yeah, what's your 2 pence on it, Bert?
Yeah, Hepburn and Matthias being rotated is interesting, but I don't think necessarily a bad thing. We talked about having the balance on there. I think so, having kind of splitting up what we might think is our best scrummaging props, with being Kemsley and Henry, having one on the bench isn't too bad. If I just go through the bench, we've got Sean Evans, Kemsley Matthias, like I said, Archer Holtz is on the bench. The world famous Vea Fafita is wearing number 19. Whether he actually ends up in the row, we don't know. But Dwayne has obviously listened to the pod and go, oh yeah, Tane and Vea don't work together. I keep needing the boys from the Sosbans and Sidesteps pod to remind me of that. So he split them up. And then Jared Taylor wears number 20. So it's a hefty pack. It's about as hefty a pack as we could pick. Archie Hughes, aka the Falcon, at number 21. Johan Lloyd at number 22, and he will come on. He will not be an unused sub. And then Eddie James, ditto, wearing number 23. I'm not. Yeah. There's nothing about the team that I dislike. Obviously, we've talked about Johnny Williams being the better impact sensor. We won't go over that again. But there's nothing really to pick apart about that selection, to be honest. Our problem all season has not been the selection of the 15. It's been the use of the bench.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the bench, I love Sean Evans. I really do. But I would, at this point, I would much rather see us try out Isaac Young. He's back, he's fit, he's an aggressive, hooker. And it's not anything to do, with physical. So like Sean Evans is taller than both Isaac Young and Harry Thomas, who are the young hookers coming through. It's just a case of those boys have been doing it their entire life, and it's so tough. Anywhere in that front row is incredibly tough to learn, especially if you know you're coming off essentially being an open side like Sean was. So it's never easy. I mean, Sean is perfect for the squad. He seems to be a galvanizing character. To be fair, he looks apart as well. I'd like to go on a night out with him. He does look sharp. Fair play to the way he's got a natural eyeliner, which I'm quite jealous of, to be honest. But yeah, we've spoken about using the bench more, having Fafita in there. That is scary. And again, like you said, we've talked about Johnny being the better impact. And we're not talking stick Johnny on the bench all season. We're saying big games where we really could do with someone big and scary like Johnny, who could come off and really make a few people's lunches go up a couple inches. That's what we want him for. So this would have been one of those. This is a must-win game right now, especially after that disaster
Yeah,
that
season's on the
happened.
line a bit, isn't it? Because if we lose this, then that means that we're 3 from 9, and that
Yeah,
doesn't
and
sound very good. Whereas if we're 4 from 9 in a draw, it sounds a lot better. And if we win,
yeah.
we'll go back into the top half of the table.
I think we finished sixth. I think with a bonus point, I think that's possible. So that would be nice. A nice little gift. Everyone
Yeah,
else.
there's been a lot of weird results this weekend. A lot of supposedly bad teams in the last couple of rounds have beaten better teams
I
in
know
South Africa,
Edinburgh.
and not so much in Ireland, but in South Africa and Scotland.
Yeah, Edinburgh beating Glasgow. I couldn't wrap my head around that. I was literally, I think it must have been quarter to five. So,
Mm,
game about to finish off, and I was just clicking through them to see the scores. I think, Jesus Christ, they won. I couldn't get over that one. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, talking about this game, I mean, same as I said for the Ospreys, the only way I see us losing if we get dragged down to the level, and Dragons are remarkably adept of doing that to
So
us.
I was trying to put together some clips which will be out tomorrow on the it's already out on the TikTok and the YouTube as a short. Um, I was looking through clips of old games, and I tell you what, we've had some stinking stinking results against the Dragons in recent years, whether it be Judgment Day or at Rodney Parade. We can't buy a win at Rodney Parade. It's ridiculous. And like for some of the players that we obviously, it's a bit of a new team for us now. In the past, like when we were in our pomp, when we had like a full Welsh 15, we still got turned over by the Dragons. It's our ability to not rock up in this game historically is mind blowing.
Yeah, and looking at the Dragons 23 for this game, if I look at the 15 specifically, I mean, we just absolutely mangle them position by position. I said to you, I think the only positions where we don't have the superior players. I think Dimitri Arhip is better than Alec Hepburn, obviously 3 against 1, and then I'd say Plumtree and Wainwright are about the same. So we got 13 players better than them in the 15. I can't see us losing this game. We shouldn't lose it.
Yeah, I got to agree. But it's never really been about that in this game, has it? It's always been about us finding a way to lose. Obviously Sammy missed his penalty last year at their place. Uh, we just they just rock up. It's a bit like how they beat the Ospreys at their place as well. They managed to beat us. I think someone offered them. You lose to Cardiff every year, but you beat the Ospreys and the Scarlets, and I think they took that choice, to be honest. And so yeah, nervous. I'm doing a series analyzing every Welsh region's attack. I've done the Scarlets, I've done the Ospreys. Cardiff is work in progress.
Do
Um,
Dragons have an attack?
but the Dragons are going to be last, and it's going to be tricky because the Dragons are very difficult to analyze because it's never clear if they're doing the same thing one game to the next. And they, especially last season, they have the ball so little. I think they carry the ball least of anyone in the league. They did last season anyway, and they're the least territory and things. It's very difficult to analyze what they're going to do. What is good about them? They have an underrated pack. I think their pack is very underrated. And Angus O'Brien is doing very well from the fly half. And they've got exciting young talent in the backs as well, the likes of Huw Anderson, their centres. I know they're very excited about as well. So that's about as much analysis as you can do on them because they they can play in fits and starts, but they always just seem to have a period in a game where they go up massively off the boil, and then it's very difficult to draw many conclusions about them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, looking at that team, they've put Huw Anderson on the left wing. So when you've got a young kid like that, you know, and we've got no issue with ours. Like obviously Blair Murray, he plays on the left wing because he's probably he's our best defensive winger, even though he's a short ass, and we saw that in the aptitude he had in the Cardiff game at home, where he went down, he ran back 3,000 meters to make that tackle, which
Yeah.
was outstanding. But they've got Rio Dyer, who is he's a Welsh international winger, 20 cap plus. I'm sure he's in and around those numbers. And left wing is like we discussed before. That's where everyone attacks on the right. So it's the left winger that's doing all the defending. They put in their young kid there. I know he plays a lot of fullback, but you put in your young kid in that position. I'd be sticking him on the right, and shifting Rio Dyer over. So I do think with how we attack, with how we play, we could find a bit of joy down there. Especially when we're lumping Max Douglas and Plumtree on that sideline, and then in the second half when Fafita comes on, I think we could get a hell of a lot of joy, down that side, just because of his inexperience at this level. I think he'll go a long way. He plays at SRC level quite a bit. Really, really good player. Not knocking him or nothing like that, but he is a kid, and that's what we're going to like Ellis me as a kid, and for that reason, he's played a bit on the left wing. So now Blair Murray's back, our best defensive wing is back. So you can bugger off and you can go have a bit of a lie down on that side. So it's just something that when you're looking at these squads and you're looking how they're made up, who's playing where, especially if you're looking at wingers, it tells me they don't trust Rio Dyer defensively. So I'd like us to attack the left as well. But I do think that could be somewhere where especially Max Douglas and Fafita get some joy should we put them in those positions. And we have done that plenty of times this season. We have got that ball out wide in the tram lines to a back rower. So that's going to be something to watch out for.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's probably the most difficult team to analyze and have a stats based conversation or something because they've changed their coach halfway through as well. It's just
I don't
difficult.
understand that.
It's just difficult to know what it is that they're gonna turn up and do. And like I said, it kind of doesn't matter because form goes out the window in Welsh derbies. There's always something weird that happens. The team that's coming in on the best form tends to lose and things. So don't don't know what's going to happen in this game. Don't know what to watch out for. Don't know what area we're going to target. Don't know what area they're going to target. It's a bit of an unknown. I think we just got to turn up and focus on ourselves.
I think what will be really exciting to see is us with a bit more ball in hand or a hell of a lot of kicking. Because, like you said, they don't get a lot of possession. We don't like to play with possession, so that's going to be an interesting one.
That could work against us. I mean, our worst performance of the season was Cardiff, and that was Cardiff at home, and that's the game that we had the most ball in. So sometimes, if you're a team that wants to play without the ball and you find yourself having the ball a lot, then you find yourself getting unstuck, and that's exactly what happened in the home game against Cardiff. So.
I reckon we just chuck a lot of Gary Owens in that case and try and pretend it's off transition if we recollect it.
Yeah.
So I honest to God, we should be pumping the Dragons. the way we are playing, the way the opposition we've come up against, the better opposition that we've beaten or we've come extremely close to. We should be put in. There should be a bonus point when walking the park. Not meaning to disrespect the Dragons, but you're last. It's as simple as that. If anything less than a bonus point win isn't good enough in this scenario, and I'm not afraid to say that out loud. I'd like to think we'll take this by a comfortable 15 points because we're at home, but realistically, I'd say Scarlets by 10.
I've really no idea. I always back the Scarlets, so I'll say the Scarlets by 2. But
Jesus,
but
oh.
the this is Welsh derbies. Something weird always happens. Something always weird happens in Scarlets versus Dragons games. So
well,
honestly,
there's no Moriarty to throw kicks and fists now or whatever it is, when
no, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of cards in this game, one way or another. Thing.
We do see a lot. Anyway, do we have any other business to conduct this evening, my friend?
Yeah, just very quickly, because I couldn't find any good clips from a Scarlet's point of view for Scarlet's memories against the Dragons. I've only got this one, which I'll share my screen now.
To end off, who are we going to see? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be a man in yellow?
It's going to be a man in a rhubarb and custard kit.
Oh, yes. You can't go wrong with rhubarb and custard.
There he is.
Da, 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 da. There he goes. Boom, boom, boom. Out my way.
I was there for this. I was in the stadium for this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you saw the angry Mastiff. Christ.
I saw the world-class blocking line run by the referee.
I know. Obviously, he's gone. We won't see his like again. But how good was Ken? Jesus Christ!
Oh, I thought you were talking about George Clancy for a second. Then
I've told you to stop.
Yeah, people forget. Just they called him Cannonball Ken for a reason, and this is that reason. World class. How many games did he start for the British and Irish Lions?
700, I think, something like that.
Yeah,
only player to ever start that many.
Not a bad player.
Not a bad player at all. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for us nicely. Scarlet, smash the Dragons, and then we have a nice little chat next Monday. Hope you guys enjoy your New Year's. Thank you for listening. As always, like, share, subscribe, do your thing, and we will see you all again, or hear you all again, next week. Bye, guys.
Cheerio.